Hey, Fiends. Before we get into this episode, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a rundown of some things to expect in this. This is probably our most technical difficulty riddled episode we've ever dealt with. We were super excited to get to talk to Tim Kirk again. We love Tim. It's always a great time when we get to talk to him, and we just had so many technical difficulties. Most of them I've been able to edit out, and you won't even notice any of the problems that we had. There is one section in the middle where we lost a chunk of audio of Tim. When that happens, I'm going to hop in and kind of try to tell you what you missed, because there's nothing else I can do there. We just lost a couple minutes, and it was stuff that was worth mentioning, so I'll try to do my best to summarize it. I've been able to piece together the audio in a way that I can hear but would be impossible to include in the podcast. But I'll do my best. And also, because of all the technical difficulties, we ended up losing Eric about halfway through the recording. So he's just there at a certain point. He just had to say goodbye and head to work. So we lost him for the second half. But Tim and I continued on, and I think we had a really great chat. So I'm really excited to share this with you. I really hate that it's that we lost the bits that we did. But I think it's still definitely a really great chat, and I hope you all enjoy it. Also, here at the beginning, I'll again mention Tim was here promoting his new book, All His Damn Mother's Sons, which I've read and is fantastic. And if you want to check out that book, it comes out today, the day that this episode comes out. So if you'd like to get your hands on a copy of that, you can go to Tim's publisher's website. The publisher is Pelicanesis. That is like telekinesis, but with the letter P at the beginning. P is in Presley. But if you go to pelicanesis.com, when you do the checkout, if you put promo code Frankencast, you can get a discount on the book. There will also be a link directly to that in the show notes, and we'll be posting stuff about it on social media as well. But definitely check out the book. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's fantastic. All of Tim's books that I've read are amazing, but you know, we're talking about this new one, and it's great, and you should definitely check it out. Take it away, Spooky Piano Man.
The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the mentor that was the secret villain all along, that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
And this week we're joined by our...
friend of the pod.
Yeah, our favorite special guest, Mr. Tim Kirk, is back with us. Welcome. It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you guys.
So, I guess right away we should say you're here because you got a new book coming out?
Uh-oh.
I do indeed, and I'm so happy to be able to share it with you guys.
Yeah. Is there anything you could share with us up front? I know it's going to be out in a little bit, but...
Yeah, it's... the book is called All His Damned Mother's Sons, and it's coming out August 19th, which is the death date of Elvis Presley. And we chose that for a specific reason, which is because in the book, in my book, Elvis dies, but at a different time. In my book, he dies in 1959.
Nice. So a little bit of alternate history.
Yeah, exactly. And then the book goes on to follow 4 different characters throughout from 1959 to 1973, and we follow their lives and how things change a little bit. Changing a great deal because of Elvis's passing, and it goes in and probably in very bad ways because of it.
Right.
Yeah, I was able to read it all, and I mean, I don't want to do a lot of spoilers on here because listeners, you should definitely go track this book down. We'll have links in the show notes, and I know Tim was able to get us a special promo code that we can get you all a deal on the book and everything. We'll talk about that at the end, but it's so fun. Like, and I really liked the way that we had these. You said 4 characters, but there's really like 2 main characters that start in very different places. And the whole time I was like, I know they're heading on a collision course. Like, I know as we go, they're going to crash into each other, and I don't know how, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be a crazy mess. And I was not let down. It was great. And then there's a really fun twist at the end that I really don't want to spoil, but I really, really enjoyed the surprise character at the end. I'll say. It's just so much fun. It's a really great alternate history, and just a really interesting look at like what the world was like then, and what it, like even what it was with Elvis, just like this changing world where everything felt possible in terms of like pop culture and stuff, but then like how in your version, how Elvis being gone really created a vacuum that made pop culture feel even more tenuous, that like there were so many other directions things could have gone.
Wow. Well, Anthony, I'm smiling all over right now. I really, you hit just about everything I wanted you to feel and see. So I'm so glad. I'm glad that this is how you felt and saw. So thanks so much, man. I appreciate.
Yeah, of course.
What you saying there. Yeah, that's great. That's great, especially about knowing that there was this collision going and you weren't sure where it was going to happen. And so I'm really glad that that's what you saw and got going for you. It's fantastic.
Good. So we'll talk more. I mean, kind of do the promotional stuff at the end. But so we decided we kind of were debating what movie to talk about. We're going to do like a Frankenstein movie that was a little bit rock and roll. But then you had the great idea that instead we should talk about Elvis Presley's film Jailhouse Rock.
Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah. Which I do think is a Frankenstein movie if you get close to it.
You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I like when you said that, I was like, well, I realized I've never seen an Elvis movie. I've listened to a lot of his music over the years. I'd never sat down and watched one of the films.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was really impressed and kind of surprised by some of the choices they made in this that I wouldn't have thought they would have done back then. Elvis,
it's surprisingly modern.
Yeah, and Elvis is not entirely a likable character in it, which I felt like he's got this kind of clean-cut image. I figured that, like, the people sort of steering his career would not want a movie where he, kills a guy in the first scene.
Right.
But yeah, the Frankenstein element definitely comes through in the way that, like, everybody is this Vince Everett, the sort of fictionalized Elvis character in here, is. He's shaped and formed by the people around him, but they continue to lose control of like who he is. Like he's kind of an unstoppable monster in the way that he interacts with those around him.
Yeah, totally. I agree completely.
He's like a living id.
Yes, totally. And I think that, and I'll have more to talk about this as we get into it. I think as we get closer, and we've seen more of especially like his acting. When we get into his acting decisions, I think it really comes to part. But I mean, I also have to mention here, if you guys haven't seen any or all of his movies, Eric, have you seen any of his other films?
No, this is honestly the only Elvis movie I've seen.
Yeah, you're lucky because. No, a lot of them there are some films that he is acting and he's good in it, but a lot of them he is really just not. It's just sweetie pie stuff.
Right. I know he kind of kicked off the whole like singing on a beach or in Hawaii thing.
Yeah. A lot of it's just him like, all right, let's do it. And, stuff like that. And like, hey, honey, and that kind of thing. So this is, but he can act and he can be kind of a tough guy and stuff. But this is unusual. And this is his third film. And the first two have just been, whoa, really? Okay. And stuff like that. So it's unusual. But anyway, we can get into that a little bit more, that part. But I think you're absolutely right when you say he's just a walking id, Yeah. And it's so exciting to talk about it because I know you guys. I mean, Jess, it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
Yeah, and how he's built, like he's literally built piece by piece by all these people he encounters. But he learns from each and every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, such a good point. That's such a good point.
So let's get this party started.
Let's fucking do it. Let's do this.
Let's start off with the Sugar Man, aka the guy who has the pay, coming in.
Yeah, so we find out that Vince Everett is like he's part of a construction crew. Everybody's like they're getting their paychecks. He's excited to go out and...
He's going to waste it on chorus girls.
Yeah. So we just immediately cut to him at a bar. He's like... You can tell he's a poor guy because he's using the bar as like his check cashing place. Like, so we're kind of like setting the stage of like what his life is like outside of this. And...
because he's also kind of a tough guy because he's like, hey, let's arm wrestle for some shots.
Right.
But then there's a woman at the end of the bar who wants to flirt with him. He buys her a drink, and then a guy, presumably her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or something, comes up and he's not so happy about that and starts pushing her around. And Vince doesn't take kindly to that, and they end up getting into a pretty brutal fist fight where when the guy is down and out, Vince doesn't stop. He just keeps punching him until he kills him.
Yep. I mean, that's the only way you could say it. But, like, I do like the line delivery that Elvis gives about, like, initially when they're starting. He's like, you kind of scare me. Women beaters always scare me. You kind of like, it scares me what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah, it's like the you wouldn't like me when I'm angry kind of thing. Where it's like, I don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
So he's found guilty for manslaughter.
Yeah, we have, like, a quick little court scene. I mean, it just, in and out, and then we're at the jail, and the warden is like, he's like, I hear you killed a man with your bare hands. Well, here we have guns and whips, so don't try anything.
Yeah. It's under 5 minutes. He's on a train, on a machine at work, and then he's in jail in under 5 minutes. That's
record time.
That's really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with the title of this movie, they didn't need to waste their time. We knew he was going to end up in jail.
Right.
But we end up meeting his cellmate, Hunk Houghton, who has a guitar on the wall that he's not happy about Vince touching.
Playing. Right. He's like, that's mine. That bunk's mine. Everything in here is mine.
Did you guys recognize that guy?
He's familiar, but I couldn't necessarily place him, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I looked him up. He was in From Here to Eternity. You guys ever see that?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He was the tough sergeant, sort of comic.
Right.
But I was looking him up, and what I ran across, and this is going to kill you, it's so funny. He had a nightclub act when he wasn't making films, and he did this when he wasn't, even when he wasn't, before he did this, but between films, he would do this nightclub act, and what he used to do this bit where he did an imitation of Elvis.
Okay,
that's funny.
And I just wonder if he did that for Elvis, did that on the set.
Oh yeah,
right. And Elvis was like, "I'm bringing you in."
Yeah. Hey Elvis, check this out, and then a little bit, like in the set, like on the.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's really funny.
That would have killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
I think Elvis is the kind of guy who would laugh at himself a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
I would hope.
Yeah, he seems like he wouldn't have taken himself. I mean, even part of this movie is sort of him kind of not taking himself seriously. Like he has to kind of like be a less good singer at the beginning and stuff like that. Like that seems like the kind of thing that some artists would not be willing to do.
Right.
maintain that brand.
Yeah. But the main thing with Hunk is that he kind of like he's a sort of a top dog in the jail, and he kind of gives Vince sort of like the rundown of like the jail economy and like, you know,
Yeah, he's a shot caller.
yeah, he's like, you know, cigarettes, I can loan you some to get you started, but it's going to be a high interest rate, and you know, basically if you have to even pay to get a good haircut around here, otherwise they're just going to do a bad job.
Right, they're going to give you the new fish cut, which, okay, so like if you know, you know, but holy shit, like they let that slide because new fish is a term for a bottom, basically, or someone who they want to be bottom in jails.
And he was getting, Elvis had the bottom bunk
Right.
in that room.
And sure enough, even like it's really surprising that they cut Elvis's hair for that, like, because it's
Right.
kind of like, you know, one of his like signature things. Like he comes back from the thing with like, you know, the sides really like cut short, and even like the top pretty thin down and everything, and just doesn't have his like traditional Elvis look.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But just enough for the character, for Vince to be like, all right, tell you what, those pack of cigarettes, how many you need?
yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of get like over this like Hunk again is like, you know, I can get you a better work detail, but it's going to cost you. And Vince is like, nah, I don't, you know, I'm not really ready to like go in on that. Like, I just kind of want to like, you know, skate by and do what I'm supposed to do. But eventually they start to bond over music. We find out that Hunk was once a fairly famous country singer, but he ended up robbing a bank to pay for the expensive habits of a girlfriend.
Right.
Right.
She was into bonded bourbon, which, okay, fair enough.
But Vince is like, well, let me play a little song, and he does, and it's like, you know, it's one of those the like Elvis kind of ballads. It's a slow, little sappy song, but you know, it's very beautiful still, and you know, like we were saying, like he's not quite doing the full Elvis thing. Like it's a little more subdued, it's a little calmer than even like his ballads usually are. As if, you know, he doesn't know what he's doing yet. Like you were saying earlier, Eric, like he's slowly formed over the course of this movie, and he's not quite there yet.
Right.
Hunk is like, okay, yeah, I'm going to teach you some things. You got promise. You know, you're not there, but you know, there's potential.
Right. Almost like a lump of clay.
Yeah, which ultimately leads to Hunk being like, okay, there's going to be a bunch of important people are coming to the prison to do a tour, and the warden kind of wants to do a little razzle dazzle, so they're not really paying attention to the bad stuff going on. So we're going to do a talent show, and I want you on there, and it's going to be televised, so people all over the country are going to watch. This kind of, to me, sounded like the Johnny Cash Folsom Prison or San Quentin shows or whatever. Like, we're going to broadcast this and let people see actual prison inmates performing and everything. And
I thought this was a particularly asshole moment in Elvis's, you know, because I think he starts off slightly likable, and he just gets worse, you know. And I thought this was kind of, spoiler alert for the people who haven't seen this movie, but it's where he gets worse, and you know, because Hulk comes to get him, and he says, "Hey, you know, get a water break," and Elvis is like, "Hey, screw, I'm going to get some water," you know, like a real jerk. And then he says, "Hey, I'm going to get you on, you know, a piece on this. Come and sing on this talent show." And he's like, "I'll consider it." You know, he's just being a real jerk.
Right.
Off, you know?
And then when Hunk's like,
and that's sort of
it's going to be a lot of girls are going to like you, and you know, you're going to be real famous. He's like, how much interest is it going to cost me? Like he's already picked that up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's the beginning of his down the road towards his complete asshole. You know? So anyway, it's just sort of the beginning.
And it's also the first time he makes this like running joke where he's like considering what color convertible he's going to get when he's rich and famous.
Right. What is it, blue or red?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, he says blue or red for now, and I think he makes the same blue or red joke later, and then eventually we'll get to when he finally does get his first.
It's a pretty good punchline. It's a good punchline.
Yeah, it is a good one.
But so we cut from him considering it to the actual show where he has agreed to do it, and he sings a song that's like "I Want to Be Free," and he's still kind of like not quite doing the full Elvis. You know, it's like it's a little more rock and roll than like the ballad he did earlier, but it's still he's not like really leaning into like the way that Elvis sings. And we don't get any of the rest of the show. We just get Vince's performance, and then it's like later. Hunk is in the mailroom and sees that there is a huge bag of fan mail for Vince.
Yeah, can't let him see this. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he hides it, right? And this is an interesting. There's kind of an interesting story, sort of like this. During the making of the film, Elvis told his friend Cliff that once he was waiting at the mailbox for a similar reaction, he was waiting for an audition, and Elvis told his friend Cliff that he wasn't worried because he knew that he had all the confidence and all the talent that he was going to make it. Yeah, so you gotta love that. Like you gotta love that.
He knows what he's about, I guess.
Yeah, he just knew, even like at 13 or whatever, that he was going to.
Yeah. So the reason that Hunk is hiding this information from him is he knows Vince is going to make it big, and he doesn't want Vince to know that. So he comes back to his room and he's like, I got an idea. So whenever we both get out, I know you get out a little before I do, what if we work together and we just split our earnings 50-50? Like, I know I'm more successful than you. I've already got the name recognition. I'll be willing to give you part of my profits just so we can be a team.
Yeah. Don't just sign this here. Don't read the rest of it. 50-50. It's all good.
Yeah. And is this the food fight coming up?
Yeah. That's like the next scene is like there's a huge riot in the mess hall.
Okay, so question. Do you think Hunk like instigated that? Like paid the guy a bunch of cigarettes to be like, start a food fight and, maybe we're going to do something else. Maybe he had different plans at the time.
Yeah, this whole scene is strange because, like, Hunk and Vince kind of, like, get out of the fight. Like, they don't participate.
Well, Hunk definitely gets out of the fight, but it's like Vince can't control himself. He's like, I love to fight.
Yeah, because it's like a guard is just like, okay, inmates, back to your cells. Like, everything's fine. They're not in the, but, like, Vince can't resist, and he just slugs this guard. And so, of course, as the warden promised, he's tied up and whipped.
I know one thing about this scene is that if anyone has concerns that this is not a Frankenstein movie, they can forget it because there's an actual Frankenstein movie in this scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the fourth Universal Frankenstein is the one yelling, "Stop!"
Nice.
That's Glenn Strange.
You're right.
My
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, I know. I didn't recognize it until I was looking at the end credits, and I was like, Glenn Strange was in this thing? Yeah, that's him.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah. He's also the guy in the coal yard. Cook, right next to
Can we get another water break? And
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. He's was bitching about the warden. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and look for him.
That's
now.
cool.
He's someone going, slop.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, Frankenstein.
Heck yeah. We have multiple layers here.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple layers. Anyway, super cool. I was so excited when I saw that. Anyway, so back to the whip.
So he gets whipped, and we just have a couple quick shot of that, and then he's like coming back to the room, clearly in agony. And Hunk is basically like, I was going to try to pay off the guard so they wouldn't, but I couldn't afford it. It was more than I had.
Right.
And, Vince kind of thanks him, and he's like, all right, that's all the sympathy you're going to get from me. Pity's a commodity that I can't afford around here, so time to get back to work.
Fair enough.
And, Vince is upset about that. What are you, some kind of animal? And he's like, yeah, we're all animals. We're, the law of the jungle. That's how we do things around here. You haven't figured that out yet? It's even worse on the outside, so you better get used to it.
Fair enough.
He says, do it unto others as you would do unto you.
But before they do it unto you, right?
Yeah.
I'll do it unto you. Yeah. Right. And Vince is like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Do it first.
Right. Yeah. So that's another lesson he takes to heart. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bad news. That's part of turning into a monster, right? That's.
So then we have some time is passing. I think we get the calendar's tearing kind of thing, and then it's time for Vince to be let out. And as you were saying, this is he's just a dick to everybody on his way out. He's a jerk to the warden, to the guards.
Yeah.
But then of course the warden is like, "Oh, here's the fan mail from when you did that show. We just hid it from you," and that really makes Vince mad. And he's but he can't do anything, so he leaves, and we see him.
But can we take a pause here for just a moment? I thought that scene with the warden was really, to me, really a pivotal moment of him really laying into his sort of playing the juvenile delinquent character, but taking the juvenile delinquent character to because you guys have watched a lot of those, right, with the teenage Frankenstein and all that.
Yeah.
And those characters, they're wild and rude and crazy and all that. But then 1955, which this is 1957, so they're shooting this in 1956. Right. So 1955, Rebel Without a Cause came out. So it was just the year before. So that movie just blew up. That kind of character, I think, just really blew up for anyone playing this kind of role.
It definitely changed the zeitgeist a little bit.
Totally. And I think Elvis was probably forced to do that character a bit, and I think the writers were writing it for him. Because remember, he's saying shit the warden says, "Get out of here," and says, "I'll try not to break down," and shit like that. And it's that's so James Dean,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely the movie I was most thinking about watching. This was Rebel Without a Cause. That's
right.
So here's the bit that we lost. We were talking about Rebel Without a Cause and how that really changed the landscape of what a teen movie looked like. And Tim pointed out that this is another way that Jailhouse Rock is a bit of a Frankenstein movie in the real world, in that the pressure to make these rebel teen movies that were kind of violent and had starred angry, rebellious teens sort of put Elvis in a position where he had to step away from his kind of aw shucks persona that he usually embodied in films. And in this one rare instance, he moves on from that and becomes a monstrous, rebellious teen, or I guess young man. And that this kind of put Elvis, not Vince, but Elvis Presley in a position to kind of behave as a monster in a way that felt out of character for the person, and that when you see this, Elvis is a pretty good actor in this film. He's doing a good job. He's selling the role, but it feels unnatural because Elvis is such a persona. He's such a part of pop culture that it just feels unnatural. It feels strange to see him in this role. And so, in that way, whether it's, Colonel Parker or movie execs or just the cultural zeitgeist, whatever the pressure was that was on Elvis, he did this film that feels kind of out of character and sort of strange because of that. Yeah, it's actually the very next scene I was really struck by that as well, because he gets a little boarding house room, and a maid comes in to clean, and he asks her where a pawn shop is, and she's like, "Why are you going to go buy an engagement ring?" And he's like, "No,
I'm going to buy a guitar and I'll sing you pretty songs for it."
And this is an older, it's clearly a woman that he's not going to be attracted to, so he's just kind of being he's being unkind to service workers here, and just it felt very it's just crude for no particular reason, and like it definitely characterizes Vince as like not a good guy here, and yeah, it's hard to see Elvis behaving that way. So we had another little bit missing here where Tim talks about the next scene where Elvis is introduced, or where Vince is introduced to the sort of love interest character of the film, Peggy. He meets her at a bar, and initially, like, she tries to kind of flirt with him, it seems like, and he's very brusque with her, kind of continuing to be this sort of like monstrous, kind of angry young man that he's playing in this. He sees that she's like messing with the jukebox, and he's interested in it in terms of music career opportunities, that maybe she has some connections. So when she says, she noticed him looking at her, he's like, I wasn't looking at you, I was looking at the jukebox. And then, we find out that he's in this specific bar because Hawk set him to go there because there might have been a job opportunity. But yeah, the scene where he meets Peggy, so he's gone to this club that Hawk told him about, and like
the manager will give him a job as a singer,
but
quote unquote.
Yeah. And he finds out, no, he's going to be like a bartender, and he's not happy about that. So he just kind of like takes the stage without the owner's permission and plays a song.
Yeah, but he's getting heckled. Well, kind of heckled. Some guy's just being an asshole while he's playing.
Mm-hmm. Well, because he's again doing like one of those like the Elvis ballads in like a rowdy bar, and like it's not the right place for this.
Yeah, know your audience. Right?
It's such a great scene because you think he's gonna get up there and play the song, and everyone's going to love him, and he's going to get an agent, and he's going to get a contract, and all this.
Everyone stood up and clapped.
Exactly, yeah. And he just blows it, and he goes crazy, and he busts up his guitar and yells at everybody.
Yeah. But somehow it doesn't scare Peggy off, and she follows him out. And like as you were saying earlier, she was messing with the jukeboxes because she has like a job with like a record label, and like back in the day, jukeboxes were like a big part of that, like getting your artists' records into the jukeboxes.
Right. Yeah, she's Miss Codependent of the Year or something.
Yeah. And so like she's like, let's go out. We'll talk. I think you're on to something. But like, why don't you think people were paying attention? And he's like, I don't know. I think I'm good. And she's like, why don't you go record yourself and listen to it and see what's missing?
Right.
Which leads to like the next scene where she gets a recording studio for him and even brings in a backing band, and he records a song. And when they listen to it, he's like, oh yeah, this is boring. I just sound like everybody else. I'm not doing anything interesting or exciting. Of course people aren't really drawn to this.
That's a great scene where he pushes the chair away and he rocks out, and then he sounds really good. That was a really good scene. I thought it was him being himself, right?
Yeah, like you finally see him, like before he's kind of been really subdued and stuff, and suddenly he's Elvis. He's Elvis right there on the screen, performing the way Elvis does. And when they play that back, everyone's like, oh, wow, we have something. This is magic. Let's press this. This could be a record. We can, this is your big break, basically.
Well, I would say here is the filmmakers for a moment just said, hey, this is a good moment because this is a real thing, because Elvis looks really happy right there, and he's doing what he does, and he looks great, and it's a great moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like it feels like the real thing happening on the screen. Like he's in his element. He's doing what he's best at doing. And yeah, so it's, and like everybody on the screen there, like all the backing band people and Peggy and everybody is just like, we've got something here. This is magic.
Totally. And go ahead.
And so yeah, I think then it's he's like, is this good enough to make a record? And she's like, yeah, let's go shop it around. Let's go to the labels and see what we can do.
Yeah. Hey, one quick thing I wanted to note there is the pianist in that scene is Jerry Lieber.
Oh, okay. Who like wrote a lot of Elvis's songs, right? Like.
Yeah, and so are you hip with Lieber and Stoller?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they were like a songwriting duo that wrote like tons and tons of pop songs from that time period.
Best, but really huge stuff. And they were on the set because they were. This is kind of a funny story. They were on the set because they were writing all the songs for his music for this.
Okay.
And so the casting director said, "Hey, Jerry, we want you to play the pianist in this scene as pretending to be the band, right?" So he had to pretend to play the piano.
Okay.
So he's in all the scenes where where they're doing this, and he had to cut his goatee. And if you look closely, this guy's only 24, but he's already losing his hair, and so the poor guy, he had to lose his goatee, and he's already looking, like in his 40s or 50s. But this is kind of cool. So they didn't really like him when they came on the set, Mike and Jerry, because they wrote Hound Dog for him, and they were already big hits, big guys, and they wrote Hound Dog for him, and they didn't like how he did it, and so they had to write another hit for him, and it was called Love Me, and they didn't like how he did it, so they wrote the song as a joke, and I don't know how that works. But here's the lyrics. Tell me if you can help me figure it out. But the lyrics are, "Treat me like a fool, treat me mean and cool, but love me." So I don't know what the joke is there, but maybe it's a joke on Elvis somehow.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this. Let me tell you this real quick. I met Jerry one time at a party.
Okay.
And I wish I'd asked him, but I didn't get a chance because we were both drunk. And he was telling me this. We were both really drunk, and he was telling me this story about this dance, some crocodile dance thing. And I know it wasn't Crocodile Rock, obviously, Elton John, right?
Okay.
But he's going on, and I have no idea what that was about. But so I didn't get a chance to ask him about that Love Me thing.
That's great, though.
That's too bad, anyway. But anyway, if you ever see the movie again, keep an eye on him, because you can see him in the background pretending to play, which is just hilarious, because, he's one of the greatest songwriters we ever had.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, anyway, I thought you could kick out.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I'm gonna have to go through and catch all these little cameos that I missed.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Anyway, so I got one more story about him later.
Okay,
go ahead.
So we from the recording studio we do get they go to a record exec who he listens to it and he's like, I don't know, we've got a guy that he's our big money maker, and this just doesn't fit what we're doing, but he agrees. He's like, let me hang on to the tape, I'll play it for some people in New York later and we'll see. Cut to later, Peggy's talking to Vince again, and she's like, I just heard from the label, and they said New York didn't really like it either, but like let's meet at a restaurant and talk about plans, what we're gonna do next.
Right, and he's kind of rude there too. He asks for her to give him a steak or something. I can't remember, but
at the restaurant, he's just really rude to her and everything, and like he's late, and she's like, I sold the record. I was I had good news, and now you've come in like this, and
so yeah, sure what? Yeah, so what? Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, what would make you happy then? And he's like, I'll be happy when the money starts rolling in, and nothing else matters to me.
Right.
And there's a couple times where he makes comments about how money is the main thing that matters to him, and you get the actress playing Peggy has a really subtle oh no, this relationship is not what I wanted it to be. There's a disappointment there, but at first she's really trying to okay, maybe not. So she's like, let's go. We can celebrate. Let's go. My parents are throwing a party tonight. Let's stop in, say hi. They'll be excited to hear what you're up to and everything.
This is amazing. This scene. This is Frankenstein burning the Delancey cottage.
It really is. He's so awful in this scene for no reason.
He's like, everyone's all dressed up. They're nice people. They're polite. They're kind. You know.
Yeah, like they greet him at the door and they're like, "Peggy told us that you all sold a record. We're so happy to hear that. Congratulations."
Yeah, she hasn't told me anything about you.
Yeah, just rude right out the gate. And then they're like, we just got this new jazz record. We're really excited to hear it. I'm sure, being a musician, you'll probably enjoy it too. Like, let's go listen to this record. And
I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about that. And he just runs the fuck out of there. He throws the beer down.
Yeah, like yeah, it's so like they're all talking about like these are like serious music lovers. They're discussing like, oh, it sounds like he was influenced by this. We like they're just really kind of digging into the music, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and just
I don't know, that's what you're talking about. It just runs out of there, right?
And still, like Peggy follows him out, and she's like, you insulted me and my whole family. What's wrong with you? And he's just kind of still standoffish with her, and she's like, oh, let me just drive you back to your hotel. Like, clearly you're not in the mood to like talk tonight. And he's like, I'm just gonna walk. I don't even want to be around you. And then she says, I think I'm just gonna hate you. I don't know why I'm doing this. And he grabs her and is like, you're not gonna hate me because I'm not gonna let you. And he just like forcefully kisses her.
Right.
Again, this is a really bad look for Elvis. Like, Elvis is the clean-cut guy that, young girls could listen to his records and, like, the family was okay with it and everything. And, like, here, like, this is, basically assault, I know seduction scenes back then were a little different, so it's not really out of the ordinary for like, these more melodramatic kind of movies, but it's still a bad look on Elvis. Like, it just doesn't feel right for him.
Yeah, and then he says, "You like the beast."
Yeah, and he just like walks off, and like the camera just kind of lingers on her face, and she's really doing a lot with just like face acting. Like it's like she's kind of hurt and confused by this, and like she still has feelings for him, but is not really happy about how this situation went. And yeah, so there's a lot of conflict in her face, and I think she sells it really well. Cut to the next day as Vince makes a half-hearted apology as Peggy picks him up to go to a record store. It's supposed to be the big release, and they go in and they ask for copies of I forget what the song was, but like they ask for the song title, and the clerk gives them some of the records, and it's not Vince's version of the song, it's Mickey Alba's version of the song, because the other label like basically scooped him. They like took the tape, let Mickey Alba come up with, or record his own arrangement of it, and stole it out from under Vince's feet, basically. He rushes out of the record store, goes to the record exec's office, and just slaps the shit out of him. Just like, and because he's like, clearly, like, I know it's a popular song that anybody can record, but you stole my arrangement, and you did. And the guy's like, yeah, you can't copyright an arrangement. What are you going to do about it? And he's like, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And he just slaps him. But then, yeah, like, I think the next scene is him meeting Peggy in his room, and she's like, you beat him up, like, you just got out of jail not that long ago. You think that's a good move? And he's like, it's fine, it's whatever. Ultimately, here, Vince is like, okay, so what we should do, if people are going to keep trying to steal from us, we should just start our own label, then we're in control of everything. The business, I'm the talent, let's split it 60-40. And he's like, well, you couldn't do it without me, I'm the talent. And she's like, okay, fine, let's do it. But again, this is where she's like, let's go out and celebrate, let's go dancing. And he's like, no, let's talk business, let's go find a lawyer. And she's like, is money all you care about? And he's like, yeah, obviously, what else is there? So she begrudgingly takes him to a classic egghead lawyer who doesn't care about the music business. And he's very like, he's just like, I need papers, I need documents to show that this is a viable business venture. If you can prove to me that you're worthwhile, then I will take you on as a client. So we have like a sort of a montage where we get like Vince in the recording studio cutting his new single, which is Treat Me Nice. And then them like, pressing the record, packing him up, going to shops and DJs, radio stations and everything, just trying to get the name out there as best they can. the montage kind of ends with like they haven't had much success, but Peggy runs into a guy, a DJ she knows, and is like, "Can you do anything? Can you help me out?" And he's like, "I'll take you out to dinner, and then yeah, I'll play the record. I'll find a way to get it on the air." And like we go straight from the scene of him talking about pet food to another scene with him where he's like, "So we got a lot of calls, and I guess I owe the listeners an apology. Seems like people really want to hear this new record from Vince Everett, and I'm sorry I was doing an ad over it, so we're gonna play it now. Once again, uninterrupted." And he puts the record on, and then it's we see Elvis signing autographs. Like it's quick. He is a success as soon as people can hear his song. And I think while he's signing autographs, that's when the lawyer shows up and he's like, "All right, yep, you can do it. You're doing great. I'll be your manager." And they negotiate the contract, which is that Vince still gets to keep 51% of the label, so he still got the controlling shares. So yeah, once they kind of sign the deal with the we have like Vince going back to Peggy again, and he's like, we got a hit on our hands. We sold 400 copies, and he starts flirting with her now. He's like, you look great in that dress. You must have read my mind when you picked it out.
Yeah.
And
is this when Teddy comes over?
Yeah, she's like, "Sorry, you told me you weren't interested. You just care about money. I've got plans tonight. I've got a date." He's like, "I made reservations for us and everything." And she's like, "You didn't make reservations with me." He shows up, the DJ Teddy, and like it's clear like Vince is pissed about this, and Peggy takes a little bit of pleasure in this, where she's like, "Why don't you thank the nice man for helping you get a hit? Like shake his hand and say thanks." And he does.
He's a real baby. He like puts his hand out, but he won't look at him and so forth.
Yeah, he's looking at the floor. They leave, and then then we get this kind of weird bit where like the lawyer manager guy kind of becomes a narrator, and he's like, he's doing like a voiceover of like a montage talking about like this is when Vince really blew up. He started playing live. He finally did get his first convertible. He chose white, which I thought was funny after all the red or blue.
Yeah.
And we go into like, Vince throwing this big lavish party, where like Peggy shows up to congratulate him, but like he kisses her and she's not into it. Like she's clearly like the romance is gone for Peggy at this point.
And he's got another girl there.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, we got a TV deal, and yeah, this girl here, she's a great singer. I'm gonna take her with me to New York to be in the special." And Peggy's like, "Well, then I'm not coming." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were thinking about coming." And yeah, she's like, "Of course not. It's strictly business between us. That's what we agreed, right?" Yeah, so he's now kind of like he follows her to the door, but he doesn't know what to say. He's like, "Listen, but he can't tell her, 'I miss you, I love you.'" Like none of that. He's not ready for that yet, Or she's about to leave, but then in the door, somebody knocks at the door, and it's Hunk. He's gotten out of jail now.
And this is an odd scene here because I don't know about you, but it'd been this ticking time bomb for me. I kept thinking, okay, Hulk's going to show up anytime now, and he's just going to blow. It's going to be just a lot of drama. It's going to be a big conflict. When he shows up with this contract that he signed with Vince in the prison about a 50-50 contract, it's just going to blow everything apart. It's going to be the third part pivot. This whole thing's going to be a big deal, and it just isn't.
Yeah.
It's like boom, in like 30 seconds, it's over. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Is like Vince is like, "Yeah, I don't have plans for you. I've got my own thing going, but like, it's good to
talk to the lawyer. He said it's the paper. It's not worth the paper it's on, and so I'm not going to have to pay you. I'll pay you 10% just to be nice."
Yeah, pretty much. Like you're just my assistant at this point. Like we do get a scene where Vince is like, I guess I'll let you be on my special," but then the producers see Hunk playing this like old country song, and they're like, this is not what we're doing here. We're gonna have to cut this number. And Vince doesn't care. He's like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
So
but I thought it was going to be this big big deal. Hulk was like hanging over him, being this real problem. But it's really not a big deal. It's really an odd scene.
Yeah, basically Vince is like, yeah, I appreciate what you did for me, but so that I'm gonna honor, quote unquote, honor our deal by like, yeah, I'll pay you 10% and let you hang around. But you're gonna have to figure out your music thing yourself because what you're doing, it's too old. You don't have the talent. That's not gonna work for you.
Yeah. And then so so then when they don't do the so then there's the big TV show, and they dump Hulk's bit because it's just 40. But then we get the iconic Jailhouse dance scene, which is great, right? You've never seen it, right?
I had seen like little clips of it, but it's so good. Like
it's so good.
Yeah, elaborate dance number with the whole like there's like a 2 tiers of like jail cells that all the dancers come out of, and Vince is one of the dancers, but like it's all well choreographed, and they're like they've got like fake instruments, and they're dancing with. He's got like a fireman's pole he slides down and twirls around and stuff. It's so good.
Yeah, so this will kill you. The choreographer. Mm-hmm. When he came out, when he came out the first day for rehearsals, he had all this Gene Kelly stuff worked out, like singing in the rain kind of stuff worked out, and Elvis was like, "Oh no!" Like it was just not going to work. They could tell right away it was just not going to work. So he was talking to Elvis, and he was like, "Huh, hey, do you have any of your records there?" Like, and Elvis was like, "Sure." So he went out and got his Elvis. Elvis went and got his records from his dressing room. This was a rehearsal before they shot it. And he got it out, and then he said, the choreographer said, just put him on and just dance around like you would just regularly dance. So Elvis danced around, and then the choreographer said, okay, I got it. And he went home, and then he just choreographed the whole thing based on how Elvis danced. And that's how they came up with this bit. This whole thing that we watched that's cool. This bit that's this theme here that's in the movie was based around Elvis's moves.
That makes sense. I mean, because Elvis has such a distinct style, and this really leans into it. It's I feel like yes. Even if you haven't seen this film, you've probably seen at least some clips out of this. Like it's. Anytime you watch a documentary about rock music, you're probably going to see a couple shots from this scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of an MGM kind of dance thing, but it's not Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. It's definitely Elvis,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. So I love that. I love that bit. I remember showing that to my daughter when she was like 3 or 4 years old, and she was just like, "Oh man!" She said, she said, "It's giving me tingles." She was like really caught up in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's unforgettable. And it's sort of like we're a little over halfway through the movie, but it feels like the centerpiece. It's like it almost feels like everything in this movie was built around this, which it's wild to think that they kind of made it up the day before. Like it just feels like it's such an integral part of the movie.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember when I finally saw it, and I'd seen it in clips and stuff before I saw the movie, and I thought, oh, that's weird. Did they? Because I had always thought he did it while he was in prison,
yeah.
Which would have been weird.
Yeah. It's funny to kind of lean into the prison thing when Hawk is back and that clearly he's not going to be used in the special, but they're still kind of throwing it in his face that that Vince is more successful coming out of prison than Hawk is.
Totally.
But yeah, once we get done with the special, we get another sort of voiceover from the manager who's like, now that Vince has gotten TV famous, his music career kind of went by the wayside, especially because Vince and Peggy aren't really talking. It's very unbusinesslike. It caused a lot of problems with him continuing to record and stuff like that. And instead, Vince signed a deal with a movie studio. So we get like the classic thing where he's like in a meeting with film execs, and they're like, so here's your leading lady in the next movie, and we want you all to be seen around town. We want people to think that you might be a real couple in real life. This was really common at the time. Just like it's sort of, I mean, I guess it's still kind of common. Like right now, like one of the big horror movies everyone's talking about is the Allison Brie Dave Franco movie Together, because they're an actual couple, and so that makes it more buzzworthy. So I guess it's always a thing. We just love to think about our celebrities in real relationships.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's the gag is that they really don't get along in this thing, and Elvis is acting like a child. He's all like, oh, he's just loving going around Hollywood, and she's all bored. And
yeah, they like go to like Knott's Berry Farm and like to a cheap diner and get like hot dogs, and they even take like a tour where you look at celebrities' houses, and she is just bored out of her mind.
That was really funny.
Yeah. So then we finally get to like the film shoot, and the very first scene they're gonna shoot is the love scene, and she's like, do we really have to do this first? I'm not into it. Like it feels weird to just start with that. We don't really have any chemistry yet. And the director's like, no, you got to trust the vision. This is I'll give you your motivation and get you going, and it's gonna be great. And he's right. They start kissing, and then they won't stop. And he calls cut, and they still won't stop. They are there is a spark there. They are enjoying themselves. So here's another bit where we lost some of Tim's audio. After the makeout scene, we cut to Vince throwing this lavish Hollywood pool party where his co-star is his date, and he's up on a stage performing some songs, which is an absolutely crazy thing to do at your own party. But people are really into it. It's Vince Everett. People are so excited to get to see him perform. And after he finishes a song, like he kind of walks down, and several people stop him. And he says a couple like really ridiculous bits of slang. One of which is like, "That's real flippy, mama," or something like that. It's very silly. But at this point, Peggy shows up. Yeah, and he's like really happy. He's like, "Oh, I've really missed you. I'm glad to see you." And she's like, "You could have called any time." And she's like, the real reason I came was I wanted to talk records. You haven't put out a record in a while, and your music career is what's building the momentum for your acting career and everything. You got to get back in the studio and record. And he's kind of mad that she's just there to talk business. Like he thought maybe they were going to try to reconnect. I think the next scene we have Peggy and Hunk talking, and they're just like, man, Vince really forgot where he came from. Like this is he's really falling. Like I don't know what we can do to save him from himself at this point. We have a scene where like the lawyer tells him that like there's a company that wants to buy the Alba's record company, the big one from the beginning. They want to buy out your record label, and so Vince is like, all right, well I'll go talk to Peggy about it. And Peggy's really upset because she's like, this might just be a little business side project for you, but this is my life. Like I quit my real job for this. I have dedicated everything I have to our label, and you just want to throw it away. And he's like, you're going to get like $250,000 out of this. It's not like I'm just, throwing you away. Like this is good for you too. And so she like kind of storms out crying. And that's when Hulk is like, Vince, you can treat me like trash. That's fine. I don't care. But like, stepping on Peggy, she deserves better than that. And that's when he's like, as you were saying, he's basically like, I'm going to beat you until you realize that you should treat people better.
Yeah.
And it kind of works because like, Vince has been ready to fight this whole movie. Anytime anybody says anything sideways to him, he's like, let's throw down. But suddenly he's like, oh wow, my like only friend in the world, is ready to beat me up because I've been treating the people around me so badly. So he just lets Hawk just beat him. Like he does not throw a punch back at all.
Yeah.
He just takes it. And the very last thing is Hawk punches him in the throat, and he just like collapses to the ground, not breathing. And suddenly Hawk's like, oh no, I went a little too far. Call an ambulance, get him to the hospital. and we have like a quick thing of like ambulance, hospital, the doctor coming out to the waiting room where Peggy and Hawk are sitting, and he's like, yeah, we had to give him a trach, like he couldn't breathe. We,
Just serious.
we had, but basically at this point we have to wait for the swelling to go down. He can't talk. We don't know if he'll ever have a voice again, but it's just we're gonna have to wait. So for a guy who's famous for his voice, that's a pretty terrible waiting game to just be like,
and this could be
you can't talk.
That could be an entire movie,
Absolutely, yeah. Like the tension there is, I mean, it's intense.
But it's just 2 minutes or something, really, and then
go
ahead.
Yeah, we have like Peggy and Hawk go to visit Vince in his room. He can't talk, and like Hawk apologized to him, and he's like, it's what I said was important, but I handled it poorly, and it's an awful thing that I did, and I hope you can forgive me because I may have just changed your life forever, but with one bad decision. And Vince kind of like reaches up to like pulls him down to like hug him, so like Vince has forgiven him no matter what. Like we're still in this limbo where this could be the end of Vince's career. His success could be all gone, and he's still forgiving Hawk in that moment.
Yeah. And they bring. So then it's like, okay, the big moment. We're gonna have the doctor's back. They're back in I guess it's Peggy's pad or maybe his pad. They got a big piano. The doctor says, "Well, it's now or never. You got to sing. See if this works." And Peggy says, everyone out, except for Jerry,
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry gets over there. He's going to pretend to play piano, and if you ever see this movie again, you're just going to be zooming in on Jerry over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And missing his just goatee. And he plays and he plays You're Young and Beautiful, which is the song he played. This is a retrieval because he played it earlier it's the first song we heard. It's the one he played in the cell to Hulk, which was a kind of iffy song to sing in a jail to your cellmate.
Yeah, true.
And you're young and beautiful, and I love you. But now he's singing, I guess, to Peggy, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, because we see Peggy and she had brought a band so that they could do like a full number, so he could but he was a little nervous. So yeah, Peggy and the whole band is like leaning up against the wall, on the other room, listening through the door. And yeah, but he's definitely singing it to her, and like, in fact, as he and it's kind of like like you said, it is like a reprise thing where it's like he starts it and he's kind of got the shaky, unconfident voice that he has at the beginning of the film.
Right.
But as he's going through the song, he becomes more and more Elvis. Like his real voice starts coming through.
Right.
And that's when Peggy opens the door and comes in, and she's got like tears rolling down her cheeks as she's looking at him lovingly, and he comes up to her and like pulls her close and is like hugging her as he like sings the last lines of the song directly to her, and that's it. Like that, it's just like that, and then the end.
Yeah. And then that weird sort of weird pencil drawing that they use for the ending of like a drawing of him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really not a good idea. But anyway, that's the ending. And that's the end of that movie. Which
one of our like little classic early Frankenstein movie things is we always talk about how they have abrupt endings, and this one certainly does. It's like as I was watching it, I was like, there's like 30 seconds left in this movie, and then it's just like he's still singing, and then it's just like that's the end. That's it. So,
that's it. Yeah.
So I guess we're just to believe that he's got everything figured out now. His voice is working. He's reconnected with Peggy. He's gonna do it right from here on. We just kind of have to hope.
I guess. Gosh, it's hard to believe though. I mean, he has a long road to go, man.
Yeah. it seems like Peggy's able, like, in the scene when, like, before he sings, when, like, they're, they see that he can talk again at least, and she says, like, I think she's able to forgive him because she's like, it was an act of true love that you did not fight back against Hawk, that you didn't hurt him, and that maybe you knew he was right a little bit, and that, you took your beating for what you had done to me. Like, that shows me that you feel bad about how everything went and that you want to try again. And so,
but I think what they were trying to say also was just that, at the beginning of the movie, he was a guy that would hit, and that's why he went to jail. And at the end of the movie, he's a guy that doesn't hit. And I think that's probably what they were going for.
Yeah, exactly. He's learned something about himself, and he's learned to handle his emotions and his, like, violent rage, basically, and to like care about the people in his life. So yeah, these movies from this era, like the sort of like arc of them, of characters learning about themselves, is sometimes a little like sped up. And I mean, he was pretty awful right up until he's not.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're to believe that he has had some personal growth, and that fight scene is really the moment where we see it kind of come to fruition.
Well, I guess he had a better ending than our Frankenstein.
Yeah. Yeah, like, because he, chose peace instead of violence there at the end, he kind of does get his redemption, and he's not a monster at the end. He gets to be a human.
Yeah.
The end scene is almost kind of like Bride of Frankenstein, where you have, Henry and Elizabeth outside the chaos hugging as the end pops up, that, like, they've escaped all of the monstrousness, all the happy heteronormative couple have come together, and everything's okay again.
Yeah, that's a really good call. That's a really good call. He's sort of stepped outside of that movie, really, for a moment. And for how long, we don't know, but yeah, it's funny. The one thing I'd like to say is I don't think they did as much about as they could have with the prison. I mean, he goes to prison, he comes out, and I don't know, he didn't seem to have much problem with having been a convict. There's no job problems, there's no employment things, there's no,
he falls into his music career pretty much like effortlessly. Like, there's no like hard times, which is definitely what real people experience when they get out of prison. There's so many doors are closed to you at that point, and you've got to figure it out, and that can be really rough.
The worst thing happens is he goes to Peggy's party, and he says, "Yeah, I was in prison." He says loudly to them. And the guy's pretty kind about it. He goes, "Oh yeah." He just kind of walks away. He's not rude about it.
Okay, so this is the last bit that we lost from Tim. A little short anecdote here that maybe is the worst one to have lost, because this was Tim telling another story about the time that he drunkenly met Jerry Lieber at a party, and Jerry told him this story of an encounter he had with Elvis, where he point blank asked Elvis Presley, "Do you think that you're a product?" And Elvis kind of sat there and thought about that for a minute, like sat with the concept, and ultimately said no. He didn't think so, because he felt that he was still getting to express his own creativity, and he was doing things that he wanted to do, and maybe there were people helping him and pushing him from behind and everything, but like at the end of the day, he felt that he still had his own creative voice. But tellingly, Colonel Tom Parker came over and steered Elvis away from this conversation, and I believe Jerry after that said that he felt like Parker would not let Elvis be alone with him for any extended amount of time. So it seemed that maybe there was some truth to this thought, and that maybe Colonel Tom Parker didn't want Elvis to dwell on that too much and come to a different conclusion than his initial one. And we discussed how, like, this is still a thing today, that so many pop stars and actors are sort of like led around by management or whatever, and that maybe Elvis might have been one of the first. There were certainly Hollywood actors before him, but he was certainly like the first like pop star in that way that would have been so completely commodified. To the point that he is still a commodity today, decades after his death. There's so much Elvis merch out there in the world. It just seems unfortunate that like so many creative people get locked into this thing where the money makers, the business people, find ways to exploit them for their own gain, because they just want to create and give their work to the people. It was a really interesting little chat there with Tim. And then we're going to go straight into further talk about other concerns of Elvis at the time, including the draft.
Well, just real quick, the draft was laying really heavy over him because he was pretty sure he was going to have to go to the draft and Friedberg and die. So
this was the film he made right before he got drafted?
Well, yeah, he got drafted, but they actually gave him what I don't know what they call it, something so he could make King Creole, but then he had to go right to Friedberg, where he got killed.
So yeah, that's a perfect segue into to get back to your book.
There we go. Good, thanks. Let's do it.
Yeah. So again, I don't want to give away a lot, but yeah. If you're in, and that's the thing is like, I think if you're interested in Elvis, you'll love this. If you're not, like, if you don't know anything about the time period, the history, any of that, it's just a really compelling story about the way the music industry treats people, about, crime in America. Like, there's just about so much is going on in this story, and like it's a great thriller. If not, like, you don't have to know anything. Like, if you didn't even know who Elvis was, it's still a good story.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, so I cannot recommend this book enough. Like, it's I've read several of your books at this point, and I've enjoyed them all, but this one is a lot of fun, and I really hope the readers check it out. Or I hope the listeners go read it, I guess. And as we mentioned earlier, your publisher has set us up with a promo code. I'll obviously be linking all this in the show notes and posting it on all the social medias and stuff, so you can definitely find it there. But if you just go to the publisher, Pelicanesis, that's like telekinesis, but with a P at the beginning. If you go to their website and use the promo code Frankencast, you can I think save 20% on the book, and it's absolutely worth your money. It's really, really great.
Thanks a lot. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you pushing for and reading it and all that, and I really appreciate it. So I guess maybe we should talk off code sometime, because I really love to talk to you about your how you felt about sport and that character and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I would love that, because I don't want to ruin any of the fun for people reading it for the first time, because it really just kept me on the edge of my seat. I think I read it in like 2 sittings. Like, I just tore through it. It was so fun.
Oh wow, I'm so glad.
But
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun writing that character and those guys. And I had a really good friend who I was really thinking about during it, who died. He's a really interesting guy, and he was really into this kind of characters. He was just a real character, and he was into a lot of music, and I don't know, I had him in my mind a lot as I was writing him, and so when finishing this book was just very important to me, and so it's really special when I hear people liking it, because in a lot of ways it's a lot for him. So
Yeah, I
that's
saw
really
in your afterword, like you talked about that a little bit, that this is almost, yeah, it's almost like a collaboration with a lost friend. So that's really, really cool that you were able to do that and get that out into the world. Like that's such a great way to like memorialize him. So that's really, really cool.
yeah, it's a good feeling. It really is. I don't really go for ghosts or angels or something, but I do feel like he's he's kind of laughing when everyone, and I can just kind of get a smile somewhere that he's when someone's reading something that he would get a lot get a kick out of
Yeah.
it being read, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I think that's really great. Like, yeah, whatever comes after, like, yeah, it's great to pay tribute to someone who was important to you and share them with the world. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, of course, it's probably the violent scenes that he would like. So, but yeah, but God, man, it was so fun doing this with you and Eric because I really love this film and I really just the idea of watching it with you guys has been really great.
Yeah, yeah, this was so much fun. We love having you on. We should definitely just do this more, even if there's nothing to promote, because yeah, it's
Yeah.
just always really, really a great time talking with you.
Oh, I'd do it anytime. So
All
just let
right,
me
sounds
know.
good. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again soon. Um, and yeah, I guess let me do our little spiel. You can find us on all the socials at the Frankencast. Of course, as I said, if you check those out around now, you'll see links and stuff for where you can find Tim's book that you should definitely check out. And you can also email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com and find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast. And yeah, just thank you all so much for listening, and definitely cannot recommend enough you check out this book. It's fantastic. All his damn mother's sons.
That's it. All his mother's damn mother's
Yep.
son.
It's such a great title. It's so impactful as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
uh, once again, yeah, definitely check it out. Thank you all so much, and to be continued.
Woo!
Looks like you've survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.